Hello, beautiful ladies. It is a Tuesday afternoon. It's getting kind of warm. And before I get into the topic of this video today, if you're serious about getting a high quality man to chase you and get into a relationship with you and want to step up and be in that relationship with you, then you may want to consider applying for coaching with me. Simply go to katiecoach.com, KATIECOACH.com. Today's video was inspired after I had a conversation with a lovely lady today, and it reminded me of something. It reminded me of just how important it is to trust our feelings during the dating process. For most women, we do go off of our feelings when it comes to dating, right? And I also tell my clients this, we need to trust our feelings. We need to go with how does it feel when we're with a guy, because you don't want to get caught up in your head and then just pursue a relationship with someone simply because he ticks all the logical boxes, but you're not really feeling that attraction for him. Okay, that would be settling. We don't want to do that. So trusting and listening to your feelings is important, but the big question is, how much can you really trust your feelings? And can you trust your feelings? The short answer is no. Okay, surprising maybe, but I want to go a bit deeper into that. But before I go deeper into it, if you are serious about attracting a high quality man and getting high quality man to chase you, to step up for you, and to commit to you in a relationship, in a long-term relationship, then you may want to check out coaching with me. Simply go to katiecoach.com. So the long answer to why we really can't trust our feelings alone is, why do we listen to our feelings during the dating process? Well, the reason we listen to our feelings is to evaluate who we should spend time with, who we should devote our time with, so we can potentially build something, right? If there's a lot of guys out there you could talk to, you need to quickly shift through that and be like, okay, I can't talk to everybody, so who am I going to talk to? I'm going to talk to the guy who makes me feel, sexy. He gives me butterflies. He makes me feel excited. And this process happens so fast, we just naturally do it, right? And when we're naturally excited about someone, that's where we want to put our energy and our attention. Well, I want to offer that that's not the best way to evaluate who you spend time with. Not the only way anyway. It's important. It's one of the components, but it's not the only thing we should be looking for. And in fact, I'm going to offer there are 3 things, and there is an order we should use to evaluate men. So you don't want to do this in random order. You want to do it in this particular order I'm going to give you, and there's a real reason for why we do it this way. This is me having gone through the trial and error of my personal experience, wasting a lot of years and verifying with them too what works and what hasn't worked. And trust me, I'm that kind of person that any new couple I meet, I'm asking them, how did you meet? What happened? I want to reverse engineer a successful relationship. And any couples, especially couples who've been together for 5 years or plus, 5 years or more, who are happily married and happily together, I'm reverse engineering it and be like, okay, how did they meet? What happened in the beginning? Okay, got it. And then of course, I speak to many women who haven't been able to make their relationship work, and I do the same thing to figure out what doesn't work, right? So this information is coming from a position of experience, okay? So if you want to fast track your path to that relationship, use this knowledge, because it is gold. So you don't have to go out there and make the mistakes yourself, hopefully. So criteria number 1, he needs to live close to you. Okay, that's the first criteria. It took me years to figure this one out. As weird as that sounds. And the reason this one took me that long is because I'm like many of you single awesome ladies who like to travel. So I was traveling a lot when I was single, and because I was traveling, I was like, hey, I'm gonna open my pool up to like everywhere, right? And I'm gonna just entertain every option, every man that I meet, and I'm gonna use my feelings to make that decision instead of actually looking at what is practical, what would actually work in the real world long term. So if I'm gonna save any of you ladies any time, it would be to take the distance out of it, right? Make sure there is no distance to your possible relationship. So he needs to live close to you. That's number one criteria above everything else. He needs to live in the same town, same area. For me, my criteria was he had to live within 30 minutes of me, okay? That was my criteria. I knew if he lived any further, I was not going to put any effort in to talk to him because I knew that would be too far to drive, that would be too far for him to go, and I just didn't want that headache, so I made it 30 minutes. Was pretty doable, okay? Luckily, my husband just happened to fall within 30 minutes. How bizarre is that, right? If he had said any more, I would be like, I'm not sure. He would have had to really do some convincing on me because I was not gonna budge on that, like, distance. Number two, you should feel chemistry and connection with him. Okay, I lump chemistry and connection together because for women, this is super important, right? It's kind of funny because I had a girlfriend tell me that she had higher standards for hooking up with a guy than she did for having a relationship with a man. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh my God, that's so true. And the reason is, when we want to hook up with a man, not only do we need to be attracted to him, but he also has to have a good personality. He has to be fun to be around, right? He has to make us feel good. He probably has to, be a good guy, right? Show me his pictures of his dog or something, and he's a family man, he's caring, he has a successful business or something, right? For me to be turned on enough for me to want to sleep with him, because it's not just about the physical appearance. I have to feel, attracted. And for women, it's not just looks, it's their personality as well. So that's why I always lump them together. There's lots of women that will have relationships with men purely based off of, they're financially stable. They're stable, they're a good guy, and then they'll just go with them and not really consider so much the chemistry part, the physical chemistry part, which is a big mistake. Big mistake, you're lowering your standards, and that never ends well. Those relationships pretty much always fail because women need that. We need to feel chemistry with the man. So they're always together, and that's really, really important. And the last criteria, number 3, is he needs to show he has the ability to build a life with you. He has to show through demonstrating it, through his actions, that he actually wants to build a life with you, or he is capable of building a life with you. Okay, very, very important. Now the last one, not many women put enough emphasis on that last one. Most women just focus on the chemistry, on the connection. If we feel it, we just want to spend more and more time with him. Okay, and not factoring in distance, which, if there's distance there, if he hasn't even shown you any consistency in his actions, that relationship is probably not going to work out. Doesn't matter how much you feel for him, logistically, practically, it's just not going to work out. So don't make it any harder on yourself than you need to, because relationships are difficult. So you don't want to make it even harder by not factoring in those other 2 criteria. And I recommend you do it in that order. Okay, so make sure he lives close by is the first criteria. If you meet a man and he checks all your boxes, you feel chemistry, but he tells you he lives on the other side of the world, immediately reject him. Have a great conversation with him, but then just reject, because it's just a waste of time. If you keep talking to him, you just, you're not going to really get anywhere with that. And then if he lives close, he meets that criteria. Second, chemistry, you feel something for him, and he of course ticking all the boxes. And then lastly, he wants to build a life with you, right? And the last criteria, you will only know what that last criteria is after about 3 to 6 months of dating him. You're not going to know that immediately. So that's what is challenging for a lot of women, because most women just go with the feeling and they invest and invest and invest, and then they don't focus on, is this guy actually capable of giving me a commitment? And at that point, it's already too late. They're already in love with him, and now it's really hard to disconnect, right? It's really hard to break up, to reject him. And I talk about that in the How to Reject Men video, that we need to build the ability to reject men too, right? So, reject the guys that we actually like, who we have chemistry with. And I don't want you to be afraid to do this, because ultimately, the big overarching thing is the universe will serve you another man. There are plenty of men out there. You just need to reject a whole bunch of them to get to the next one. But it's not going to happen if you don't reject men. You're just going to probably lower your standards and allow men to take up your time that doesn't meet your standard, who are going to waste your time, and prolonging the chances of you finding that guy who's going to meet all of your standards, and that's going to really catapult your relationship to the next level. Okay, so that's basically my video today. If you are serious about getting that high quality man you want and having that love you want, then you may want to check out coaching with me. Simply go to katiecoach.com and let's book a time to talk and see what we can do, right? And just to recap, he has to live close by, right? There has to be chemistry and connection. And lastly, he needs to want to build a future with you. And if at any stage he doesn't meet those criteria, reject. Get good at rejecting men and moving on to the next one, because there's plenty more out there. You don't want to settle, okay? Don't settle at any point with any of the guys who don't meet your standard. Okay, that is my video for this week, or today actually, and I still want to uphold a commitment to do one of these videos daily, and I really want to continue doing that. It's really helping me, and I hope it's really helping you girls as well. So I will talk to you soon, and if you have any questions, please leave me a comment, feedback, and if you want the opportunity to work with me, go to katiecoach.com. Set up a time to talk to me, and let's see what we can do.